Happy Wednesday, Who Dat Nation. We're going live a little bit later today because the New Orleans Saints finalized their practice squad and made a lot of moves to impact the roster. So I wanted to wait. I wanted to get everything together for you so that way we could give you the most updated and most accurate information around the Who Dat Nation, the black and gold, and your New Orleans Saints as they have a brand new roster, and it's time to get rowdy. Welcome into Saints Now by Chat Sports. My name is Trace Girouard. Let's have some fun today. So I want you to start off by shouting out your city. We also got a $5 super chat from Queen Courtney. We'll get that up here in just a few minutes. But I want to shout out everybody where you're hanging out. We are in beautiful Dallas, Texas, where the Cowboys have not won a meaningful football game in the entirety of my lifetime. Almost 27 years of life. Wow, I'm almost 20. Wait, no, I'm 25. I'm almost 26. Am I almost 26? I'm almost 26. I'm at the point where I'm starting to not remember how old I am. That's how old I am. And I've never seen the Cowboys win a meaningful game. You're good. Ty Man is out in Ohio. Queen Courtney in Baltimore. Who Dat Nation from Timothy. Daniel saying what's up. Young City, 9th Ward. I would assume out in the 9th Ward. We got Big Duck out in Harvey, Louisiana. Michael in Lafayette. We got Sherman, Texas from Jeff. Slidell from Daniel. Big Duck saying, what up, Trizzy? Althea saying, Louisiana, baby. Michael saying, Scottsdale, Arizona. St. Gabriel, Louisiana from Timothy. San Antonio for Lone Star Fox. Kansas City, Missouri from Ian. Who Dat from Kentucky. Thomas Ware, shout out to Kentucky. Jackson, Mississippi, as always, from Jason. Baton Rouge from Mr. Filmer. Appaloosa from Dimitri. We got Tampa from D-Money. Lancaster from Sean. Albuquerque, New Mexico. Lake Charles, Louisiana. Fresno, California. New Orleans East, Bookie Brown. Shout out to you, Bookie Brown. Hey, the Who Dat Nation is showing up, showing out, and as always, they're having a grand old time. We got Wilston, North Dakota. Ashton out in North Dakota. I have been to Sioux Falls, South Dakota. I went on a mission trip there a handful of years ago when I was in high school, and I went out to South Dakota. I saw this on like a banner, and I thought it was the coolest thing ever. I remembered it, and then whenever I turned 18, I actually got it tattooed on my arm, so that's kind of cool. So South Dakota and the Dakotas as a whole, I've been out there. It's beautiful. It's beautiful, beautiful area. McAllen, Texas. I've also been to McAllen, down south, just about 20 miles from the border of Texas and Mexico, which is pretty cool. We got California from Kyle, and then we got Dallas from Maddie the Baddie. What's going on, girl? Good to see you in the chat. Tell dude I said what's up. Queen Courtney, $5 super chat. Everyone get the Queen Courtney emojis in the chat. Let's get the crowns in the chat because the Queen has blessed us with her presence. She's going to be in and out tonight because she has her daughter's soccer game. So, of course, got to respect that. But shout out to Queen Courtney because royalty has blessed us with their presence today. So Ty Man the Buckeye getting those Queen Courtney emojis in. Steve is in North Carolina. Lisa is in Houston. And Bookie Brown says, I thought everyone in Shreveport loved Dallas Cowgirls. There you go. All right, we are 11 days away from kickoff. So if you're pumped up for the regular season to get underway, drop a like, hit the thumbs up icon, and let's get rowdy. Saints fans, we are just days away from kickoff, just over a week. It has been so long since we've seen meaningful football for the black and gold, and I can't wait. I'm pumped up. I'm excited for the Clint Kubiak offense. I'm excited to see this defense. I'm pumped up to see another year of Chris Olave and Rashid Shaheed, A.T. Perry year 2, Alvin Kamara, Taysom Hill. I mean, it's going to be a lot of fun this year, so hit the thumbs up icon, like today's video, because we are only 11 days away from kickoff, and we only have 30 likes and 150 people hanging out with us. That is blasphemy. I mean, that's the kind of production that our Falcons channel gets here at Chat Sports. That is ridiculous. I need you to hit the thumbs up icon, like today's video, because we're about to get into the rest of the show. So drop a like, hit the thumbs up. Come on. Why are we acting like we're Falcons fans and not pumped up for the season? Why are we acting like we're the Carolina Panthers and no fans exist? Come on, Saints fans. Show up, show out, and make your voices heard. Be proud. Bleed black and gold. Make your presence felt in the comment section and by hitting the thumbs up icon. So a couple more questions before we dive into the full show. Who are you most excited to watch this season? I listed a handful of players, and I'm going to give you an offensive and a defensive player that I'm excited to watch. Offensively, I'm really, really excited to see how Taysom Hill is used in this Clint Kubiak offense. And defensively, I can't wait for Chase Young to get after the quarterback. He was exciting during the preseason. I'm super pumped up to see more from him. Mr. Filmer saying the rattlesnake. I would love to see it. Steven says, I love your show, Who Dat. Steven, I love you, man. Was born in New Orleans, raised in Slidell from Randy. Gotta love it. Andrew saying he's excited for Chase Young. Alex saying Spencer Rattler from offense, Chase Young from defense. Love to see it. Offense, Kamara. Defense, Chase Young. I like it, Kyle. I like it. Queen Courtney and King Ken, they're getting after it in the comment section as always. Althea says Alvin Kamara. Tyman says Spencer Rattler. Timothy, Derek Carr is what he meant with the new offensive coordinator. Taysom Hill equals Christian McCaffrey 2.0. Jeff, I wouldn't go as far to say that. They're very different players, but hey, in terms of the impact that they could have on the offense, I could see that being the case. Mason Tipton, Alvin Kamara, Taysom Hill, Demario Davis. Yeah, these are all really good ones. Honorable mention, Chris Olave and Brian Brzee. Good answers right there. All right, we do have our mailbags back here on the channel. So if you want to be a part of the show, use hashtag Saints or send in a super chat like my girl Queen Courtney. And fun fact, if you do send in a super chat, we're giving you a sale on the helmet stickers. So $5 super chat gets you a helmet sticker today. We're getting close to being full. I mean, hey, we only have a few spots left. So if you want to get a spot for sale, send in a $5 super chat and we'll get you a helmet sticker. It's an easy way for us to reward those of you who support us, not just on game day, but also throughout the week as well. So gotta love giving back to the Who Dat Nation. And I always say thank you so much for supporting what we do here. All righty, Tex. We are about to get started into the program. So message read now for the highlight cut. Yeah, Rolly just slacked me message read for the highlight cut. So the first thing we're going to go through is all of the roster moves that the New Orleans Saints made. 16 players on the practice squad, 1 signing, and 1 trade. So a grand total of 18 moves by the New Orleans Saints. And we're going to dive into each and every one of those. I'll give you my reaction, give you some information and all that fun stuff. Had to lather the pipes real quick. All right, we're at 124 people watching, 57 likes. When we get 3 more, I want to get to 60 likes and we can get this party started. And then, of course, I'm sorry. Yes. And then once we get to 69 likes, that's when the party can really begin. That's at least what Maddie tells me. 69 likes and the party can officially begin. Don't come after me. My girlfriend said it, not me. I'm just here as the messenger. Tyrann Matthews getting 6 interceptions. I love it. Jason, because you sent in a 20, I'm giving you a helmet sticker. You only needed to send in 5, but you went above and beyond to support what we're doing here, so I got to give you a helmet sticker, man. Jason Hample, legend. I can't write and talk at the same time, so I apologize. I just went to Arkansas, and I am just a simple boy from the great state of Tejas. Don't want the Sharpie to run on Jason's name. All right, Jason. Since you sent in a 20, you're going to be the second name. So we have Randy holding it down over here. We got Dylan holding it down over here. So I'm going to put you right on top of Dylan. And that way you can hold it down on the front for us because you're a legend. Jason, forever ingrained on our Saints helmet right there. $20 super chat. Shout out to you, Jason. Thank you so much for your donation. We're going to get after it. We're going to talk about the latest roster updates around the New Orleans Saints. I hope you guys are excited. If you haven't already, give me a Who Dat in the comment section and be sure to hit that thumbs up icon and like today's video. And producer Tex, when he gives me the green light, we're going to get this thing going. All righty. Green light. Ready, set, Saints news coming at you. The New Orleans Saints front office was very, very busy today, Saints fans. A grand total of 18 roster moves. And I'm going to go through each and every one of those. They traded for a player. They claimed one off of the waiver wire. And on top of that, they built out their practice squad. So we're going to dive into all of it and then some here on today's show, but we are 11 days away, baby. I can almost smell the beers. I can almost taste the stadium popcorn. I can almost hear the Who Dat chants in my ears. So if you're pumped up just like I am for the regular season to get underway, Saints versus Panthers, week 1 at the Dome, hit that thumbs up icon and like today's video. So let's go through the trade that was made today. It was actually the most recent roster move by the New Orleans Saints. John Ridgeway III, the former Arkansas Razorback, has been traded by the Washington Commanders to the New Orleans Saints. And this is a player who back in 2022 was a 5th-round selection by the Dallas Cowboys. And he was actually released by Dallas, and then the Washington Commanders, they brought him in 2022, and he's been on the roster ever since then, and he's been a relatively productive player. In 32 games played, he had 55 tackles, 2 pass breakups. He also has 29 run stops and 12 pressures throughout his career so far. And when I went to the University of Arkansas, woo pig, first of all. Second of all, John Ridgeway was a player that we got to see a lot of highlights from, and he was very productive as a Razorback, and I was really excited to see that the Saints brought in a Razorback because I am an alum of the great state of Arkansas and the great University of Arkansas. So let's go through the trade details really quick because this is important. So the New Orleans Saints, they actually, dare I say, won the trade. It's kind of hard to say because Ridgeway may not make the roster. Colin Saunders dealing with an injury, so I think this is just a move to give him a little bit of extra defensive tackle depth. Maybe here in a few weeks, Ridgeway has moved on from, but I think in the terms of, or in the grand scheme of having a player around like John Ridgeway, I think it's a good trade. You actually get a 7th-round pick in return, and all you did was send a 6th-round pick, and you get a player and a pick on top of that. So you got to love that. The New Orleans Saints getting active in the trade market. This is the first trade, I believe, that the Saints have made this offseason, so there you go. Outside of like the draft picks and whatnot, but this is the first player trade I believe that the New Orleans Saints have made this offseason. So let's go to the waiver wire because the New Orleans Saints, they didn't lose any players in the waiver wire. The NFL Waiver Claims sheet came out. Nobody on the New Orleans Saints was missing. However, did actually add a player. And it's a pretty good player and a player I'm pretty excited about. And it's Kene Nwangwu, the running back from the Minnesota Vikings. Now, I know right here you see his kick return stats. This is a player who, as a running back, has extremely limited production. But when you have a guy who can run a 4.29 40-yard dash, which is what he did at his pro day in 2021, he's fast. And he also, fun fact, leads the NFL in kick return touchdowns since joining the league in 2021. He averages 27.6 yards per return. And with Kene Nwangwu, I like this move because Darren Rizzi, if you remember, he was the one who kind of got the ball rolling and kind of made this new kickoff rule a reality. And for Kene Nwangwu, I think that you could see him and Rashid Shaheed be your 2 return men, and Darren Rizzi even understands that. He went as far as to say, during the pre-draft process and during the offseason, look, I know teams are going to try and take Shaheed out of the equation. So let's just add back to it and go get Kene Nwangwu. I mean, over 1,800 yards as a kick returner. Unbelievable production for him. So I'm excited to see what he can do on special teams because, hey, speed kills, and the New Orleans Saints, that's what they got a lot of, speed. So really quick reminder, I want to encourage you to subscribe for more updates, news, and rumors around the New Orleans Saints. Anytime that there's breaking news or a roster update or injury updates or anything like that, we're going to provide you with coverage, content, and videos. Whether it's a short-form video that's 60 seconds, gives you a quick breakdown, or a full 15-minute video where I give you my full thoughts and analysis, we're going to give you guys coverage, and we're going to keep you informed around your favorite football team. So help us get to 30K and subscribe right now. And coming up next, we're going to go through the Saints practice squad because all 16 players have been revealed. And there's a couple good names on there. There's a couple names that you're like, wow, you brought him back over another player. And we're going to go through each and every one of those in a second. But I got to say thank you so much. And honestly, I just got to tell y'all and brag about how good Factor meals are really quick. I mean, I have a whole spiel about it, but the simplicity of Factor meals has made my life so easy because all you have to do is you throw it in the microwave, you heat it up, and within minutes you are indulging on a delicious chef-crafted meal. And if you want to meet your wellness goals this fall, you should check out Factor Meals. They have a delicious menu of chef-crafted meals with options like Calorie Smart, Protein Plus, and keto-friendly diets. Factor's fresh, never-frozen meals are dietitian approved and ready to eat in just 2 minutes. So no matter how busy you are, you'll always have time to enjoy nutritious, great tasting meals. And if you're a lot like me where you get busy in the fall and you enjoy going to football games and you enjoy going to the bars and you need a quick refuel and get some good food in you that isn't fried nonsense, I'll tell you what, Factor Meals is the best place to do it. And we have a deal for you, Who Dat Nation. If you head over to factormeals.com/SaintsChat50 and you use our promo code SaintsChat50, you'll get 50% off your first box. But wait, there's more. My name ain't Billy Mays. You also get 20% off your next month. So if you use code SaintsChat50 at factormeals.com/SaintsChat50, you'll get 50% off your first box plus 20% off your next month while your subscription is active. I love Factor Meals. They have gotten me through a lot of easy nights and a lot of long days, and I cannot emphasize how good they taste. So go check out the information. It's in the comment section, description of this video. And here's the thing. If you dislike it, that's A-okay. Just try it out for a short amount of time. Try a bunch of their different foods because they are delicious, they are nutritious, and they're all fresh. I love Factor Meals. Use the information in the comments and description of this video. All right, so let's go through the practice squad. The first name that was announced was Johnathan Abram, the safety. He is a veteran in this league, and he's been around the New Orleans Saints. This is his second season with the black and gold. And for him, I think that he comes back to the practice squad, and it's not really a shocking move for me because I do really like Jordan Howden. And to be honest, I think that the Saints had a better opportunity to have Johnathan Abram back in clear waivers versus Jordan Howden. The league is familiar with Johnathan Abram. Maybe they're not really willing to take a risk on him, so that's why I think the Saints opted to put Johnathan Abram on the practice squad. If you remember last year, he started on the PS as well and found his way onto the active roster after the Marcus May injury and when they needed to add some depth. Equanimeous St. Brown, he's a wide receiver who was added. Most notably, he's known for his blocking ability. He's known for how big and physical he can be. And on top of that, he was also the recipient of that beautiful, perfect, textbook throw from Spencer Rattler in the preseason versus the Titans. I think St. Brown could eventually find himself on the roster if there are some injuries with the New Orleans Saints wide receivers. St. Brown's a player that I'm not going to rely on, but I can have some faith in an absolute pinch that you can have him be a wide receiver and a low-end wide receiver for you. Isaiah Stallbird, he's on the practice squad as well. He's a linebacker that the New Orleans Saints brought in as an undrafted free agent, so it's nice to see him back. Mason Fairchild, he's one of 2 tight ends that were brought back on the practice squad. It's also Michael Jacobson, and I think that the New Orleans Saints, they're loading up the tight ends because Taysom Hill, he is not just a tight end. He's not a fullback. He's not a quarterback. He's not an offensive football player. He's not a defensive football. He is a football player. He does every position. He plays on all 3 sides of the ball. And when you have a player like that, if you need an extra true tight end, expect one of these 2 names to be called up to the active roster. Now, really quick, I want to ask you kind of an off-the-wall question. Who's your favorite college football team? CFB is back. We got to see Florida State, get upset by Georgia Tech over in Ireland. So I just want to ask, what's your favorite college football team? I'm expecting to see a lot of Tulanes, a lot of LSUs, maybe even some Louisiana or the University of Louisiana. I could see a lot of that as well. Mine is the Arkansas Razorbacks. I graduated from the U of A with 2 degrees, and I actually grew up, fun fact, as an LSU fan. So me going to Arkansas completely switched my fandom, and I bleed Razorback Red, and it's my favorite school because, hey, I spent 4 years out there. Josiah Ezirim, the 7th-round pick that the New Orleans Saints had this past draft class, he gets added to the practice squad, and he's a player who traits alone should at least be on the practice squad, and he's a player that has nice size, and, there's a lot of development that needs to come in with him, but in an absolute pinch, if the New Orleans Saints need an offensive lineman because they are banged up and they don't have a lot of quality depth, maybe Josiah Ezirim gets onto the active roster. Same deal with Shane Lemieux. I think that he is a player that could find himself active on game days depending on how injuries shake out and depending on how the offensive line is playing. I don't think in terms of the O-line the team is done. I do actually believe that they're going to go and add another player, but for right now, these are 2 names to keep an eye on the practice squad. Charlie Smyth, he's a kicker, not a punter. That's on me. I accidentally had the graphic incorrect. But he is a kicker. He is on the practice squad. Shout out to producer Tex, the best in the business, fixing my mistakes while I'm here. So Charlie Smyth, he is an Irish kicker. He had the game winner against the Arizona Cardinals in preseason week 1. And why there's an asterisk right next to his name? Well, I actually have some good news for you, Saints fans. The NFL, they implemented a new rule where teams can carry up to 17 players on the practice squad. Right now, the New Orleans Saints have 16 players on their practice squad. So, with one of those being an International Pathway Program player in Charlie Smyth, they actually still have a roster spot open on the practice squad. So, I think that's really good news for the New Orleans Saints. They can go and look to add a wide receiver, add an offensive lineman. Worth noting, there's no quarterback on the practice squad, so maybe that's something that they look at. I'm not necessarily sure what they'll do with that extra roster spot, but I do know that they have one available thanks to this new rule. And I just want to take a quick second. Help me send some love to Charlie Smyth. I mean, this guy has such a cool story, and on top of that, I think that he has a very bright future in the National Football League. So help me send some love just by interacting with this video. Whether you want to drop a like, whether you want to get down in the comments and say shout out to Charlie Smyth, throw an Irish flag in the comments, I don't really care. Just interact with this video and show some love to Charlie Smyth. That way we can send him some good vibes. Niko Lalos, he's a defensive end who has been around the Saints before. He is back on the practice squad, has some experience in the UFL. I believe it was the XFL when he was playing, but he is a player that will have some defensive depth, and maybe he can find himself on game days. They only have they have a few. They have more than 3 defensive ends. They have 5 defensive ends, I believe. 4 defensive ends. 5. They have Cam Jordan, Chase Young, Carl Granderson, Isaiah Foskey, Peyton Turner. 5 defensive ends on the roster, so maybe it's a hard route for him to get to the game day roster, but if there's injuries, Niko Lalos is a good name. Jacob Kibodi, one of the fan favorites based on his performance against the Tennessee Titans in the preseason. He is back on the practice squad. A lot of fans on social media were upset to see him get released by the New Orleans Saints. But for him in the preseason, he was extremely effective, especially in that game against the Tennessee Titans where he really took over. 2 touchdowns on the game. And he's a player who I think has some pop, has some good attributes. I'm not going to sit here and say that I trust him to be a running back 2, maybe a running back 3 if you need him on the roster, if somebody's hurt, but I don't want this to turn into like I'm knocking Jacob Kibodi or I'm knocking Jordan Mims or any of those guys, but they're not running back 1s and 2s for a reason. And for Jacob Kibodi, it's nothing against him. I just think that if he wants to find himself on game day, it's going to be because of an injury or something like that. I'm excited for him to be back in the New Orleans Saints locker room, but again, I'm just not necessarily sure he's going to get a lot of run on game day. It's not me hating on him. It's just me trying to tell you what it is. So another linebacker added to the practice squad. Got 6 more moves for you. Khaleke Hudson, he was a free agency acquisition that came in early into the free agency process, and now he is a New Orleans Saint on the practice squad. Khaleke Hudson. I said that twice. Ugo Amadi, as I should say, the defensive back. He spent the last year with the Saints. He's been around the league for a couple of years now, and he's bounced around and played on a handful of different teams. I was surprised to see Ugo Amadi get cut, but they like what they saw from Will Harris, and hey, that means that they're going to roll with Will Harris and Will Harris, JT Gray, and what's his name? Jordan Howden. I don't know how I mistake that or how I forgot that name. So dumb. Get it together, Trace. All right, let's talk about Millard Bradford. They call him Nuke out at TCU. Notably, he had a fumble recovery in preseason week 3. preseason week 3. He had a fumble recovery. And early in the offseason during training camp and OTAs and all that fun stuff, he was pretty active and he was forcing a lot of turnovers. So it's good to see him back onto the practice squad. I think that he can offer some good versatility and good depth if there are some injuries at the safety position. Few more roles or a few more players for you on the practice squad. Kevin Austin Jr., the wide receiver, he is going to take over as one of the wide receivers on the practice squad. Unfortunately, Samson Nakua did not make it, so Kevin Austin is going to be one of those guys. Kendall Vickers, the defensive tackle, he is also on the practice squad. And Kyle Hergel, who I actually do believe will be on the active game day roster a handful of times this season. Hergel was impressive during the preseason. He was impressive during camp. He was impressive all offseason, and he gained a lot of respect, or he earned a lot of respect from the New Orleans Saints front office and from the coaching staff. So I could see him getting elevated here and there throughout the season, depending, again, on injuries and how bad the offensive line plays. So really quick, here is a screenshot of all of the practice squad moves. If you guys need to look at it, you need to absorb it, you need to take it in for a second, do it. It's right here. I also tweeted it out on my social media account. But we just went through all of the roster moves that the New Orleans Saints made here in the last 12 hours, 10 hours. I mean, it's been a loaded, busy day across the NFL, but especially down in New Orleans. So be sure to subscribe and hit me up on social media if you want more content in between these videos. I'm always posting my thoughts. I'm trying to up my Twitter game, trying to give you guys some fun hype videos, funny content, interactive, and all informative, and all a lot of fun. You can also hit me up on Instagram. It's the same handle. You just throw an underscore on the back end of it. Exclusively Saints content. You're not going to get any more coverage than what I'm putting out on social media. I love everybody who follows me. I love every one of you who's about to follow me. And shout out to all of you for joining today's program. Y'all stay golden. We'll see you next time. All righty. I want to know who's your favorite college football team. Who is it? I saw LSU. I saw UL. I saw LSU, Ohio State, Southern University, OSU, Ohio State. Jacob Kibodi deserves a chance. Yeah, that's why he's on the practice squad. That's him getting his chance. He's on the practice squad. He is not jobless. He is not in the UFL. He is a practice squad player. That is his chance in the NFL. OSU from Kyle. Wow, there's multiple Ohio State fans in here. That is shocking. Southern University Jaguars from Mr. Filmer. Coco says LSU and SDSU. I'm going to assume that's South Dakota State. We did not. LSU from Gary V. I love it. Did you message Reed? Okay. I'll need to send Reed the. Wait, what happened? Wait, Colin's coming in here? Oh, my God. Okay. I'll send it to Colin. I'll send to Colin. All right, sorry, guys. Just trying to get that video out for you. For those of you who are not joining the live show, just give us 1 second. Major roster updates. That's what we're doing. Cool. All right. Just sent it over to Colin. Sweet. So I want to know what your favorite college football team is. I see Virginia Tech Hokies. I see LSU, South Dakota State, San Diego State. Southern, LSU, and Texas. LSU and Texas being two favorites. Sean, that's controversial right there. Clemson from Brandon, LSU from Brittany. About checks out. All right. Jason Hamble, $20 super chat. We got your name on the helmet, Jason. It's right there. You want to screenshot it? You want to see your name forever ingrained in Saints helmet history? Booyah. Right there, brother. Thank you for your donation. Playoff bound this season. I sure hope so, man. I sure hope we are, because that would be absolutely electric. All right, we got another cut. We got another cut coming at you. And if you want to get on the program, feel free to use hashtag Saints or send in a super chat. That way we can get you on the show. If you can't send in a super chat, that's fine. If you want to get on the show for free, you have to use hashtag Saints. Otherwise, you will not be able to get on the show. That's how our software makes it happen. So it's just, transparency's sake. Injury update on Kendre Miller. He was watching Wednesday's practice from the side in his jersey. So that's pretty cool. Other injury updates, Marshawn Lattimore, Kool-Aid McKinstry, Rashid Shaheed, and Mason Tipton all back participating throughout the portion of practice open to media today. So there you go. Good news around those two, around all those players. Gots to love that. There you go. All righty. Sean says, Texas, my daughter's a student, and my funds go there. Sean, that makes sense. That actually makes a lot of sense. I was going to say, if you're an LSU and a Texas fan, like, they're both SEC now, so that's going to make it's going to make your game days really exciting. But I can understand your money makes you a Texas fan. Hey, I get it. I get it. Producer Tex, fun fact, he is a Texas alum as well. He's giving me a horns up in the camera right now. They do. We do. We do. All righty. So we're going to dive into the next piece of content for you. This is going to be a fun one. I'm excited about this. It's all about the undrafted free agents. I think Mickey Loomis pulled off highway robbery once again. So here we go. We're going to talk about it. Let me lather the pipes. All right. Yep. All righty. Let me pull up my notes for this video. Huh? Yes. Correct. Correct. Coolio. And if you need to run the intro video there, that's fine, just for your sake. I'll hard pause either way, so just whatever you need to do there. Yeah, totally up to you, brother. All righty, we're going to dive into it. Mickey Loomis has done it again, and I'm going to tell you what he did. Mickey Loomis has done it again, ladies and gentlemen. The Saints general manager, he pulled off an excellent move because these 4 players made the roster. The New Orleans Saints have been trying to get younger. They've been trying to get cheaper. And 4 undrafted free agents from this rookie class made the roster. And this is an excellent move by Mickey Loomis. I'm super excited that these 4 players are a part of the active roster, and I need your help congratulating these 4 guys for making the game day roster. Type congrats in the comments section so that way we can send some love to Dallin Holker, Rico Payton, Matt Hayball, and, oh my gosh, Mason Tipton. I don't know how that name slipped me, but I want to say congratulations to all 4 of those undrafted free agents for making the game day roster. And now coming up in today's video, I'm going to dive into why I'm excited about these undrafted free agents, and I'm going to dive into why Mickey Loomis absolutely fleeced the NFL by bringing in these 4 players. Saints fans, it is Saints Now by Chat Sports. My name is Trey Girouard. Thank you so much for tuning in. Let's dive in. Like I said, Mickey Loomis has done it again. The New Orleans Saints, in my opinion, they have an excellent eye for undrafted free agent talent. And I can understand where some of y'all are upset and frustrated with the front office and with the scouting department because it's like, oh my gosh, we're missing on these first-round picks and we're drafting these O-linemen and we're taking Peyton Turner over Lamar Jackson and we're doing this and we're doing that. It's so dumb. I'm not going to disagree with you on some of that. But they are good at undrafted free agents. That is a fact. There is a handful of really productive players on the New Orleans Saints that are undrafted free agents, and they are diamonds in the rough. So I want to dive into Dallin Holker first, because Holker Mania is here, Saints fans. He did miss time in the preseason due to an ankle injury, and I think that he is a player that provides a lot of things for the New Orleans Saints, and he was extremely productive in 2023 out at Colorado State. Transferred from BYU to Colorado State in his last year of college football, and this is a player who I think could actually have a big impact at the tight end position. I don't expect him to be challenging for tight end 1, but hey, I am really, really excited, and if you don't believe me, check out this video I posted yesterday.
Holker Mania is coming to New Orleans, brother. Dallin Holker, he made the 53-man roster, the tight end out of Colorado State. He's bringing all the Holker Maniacs, the Who Dat Nation, and he's taking down the NFC South. Let's go, brother. Who Dat?
Holker Mania, like I said. I don't know if you guys got amped up, but you should have, because right now, I'm rewatching that video. My blood is boiling. I'm just ready to run through a wall, and Dallin Holker is going to be the guy that's going to be leading us on that charge. In the preseason, very limited production, again, dealing with an ankle injury, but for that tight end spot that has players like Taysom Hill, that has players like Foster Morrow, that has Juwan Johnson on the roster. I do believe with Dallin Holker, he could find himself active in the red zone. I want to see him active in the red zone. And another big thing about him, he is really, really good at forcing missed tackles. In 2023, he had 15 missed tackles forced, and he had 10 contested catches. So I want to see him get utilized in the red zone. I want to see Clint Kubiak scheme up plays for Dallin Holker, because as we all know, last year with Pete Carmichael, it was a struggle to get the tight end position rolling. And that's with Jimmy Graham, which was absolutely ridiculous. But you want to know something even more ridiculous is how good factor meals are. And I'm a guy who likes to procrastinate, who's pretty lazy, but loves to cook. And I like to consider myself a little bit of a foodie. And factor meals, not only are they delicious, but they're nutritious as well. And if you want to meet your wellness goals this fall, you should check out Factor Meals. They have a delicious menu of chef-crafted meals with options like Calorie Smart, Protein Plus, and keto-friendly diets. Factor's fresh, never frozen meals are dietitian approved and ready to eat in just 2 minutes. So no matter how busy you are, you'll always have time to enjoy nutritious, great tasting meals. And with 35 different meals and over 60 add-ons to choose from every week, you'll always have new flavors to explore. Make every day delicious, from breakfast to dessert. Stay fueled with easy, nutritious options. Head over to factormeals.com/SaintsChat50 and use code SaintsChat50 to get 50% off your first box. And don't call me Billy Mays, but wait, there's more! When you use code SaintsChat50, you'll also get 20% off your next month. So friendly reminder, that's code SaintsChat50 at factormeals.com/SaintsChat50 to get 50% off your first box plus 20% off your next month while your subscription is active. If you missed any of that, all the information is in the comment section and description of this video. Shout out to Factor Meals for sponsoring today's show, and shout out to you for upping your nutrition and your food game by using Factor Meals. Number 2 undrafted free agent that made the roster, it's Mason Tipton, the Yale wide receiver. And why this is such a crazy thing for me is he made the roster without playing a single preseason game. That means at training camp, that means in OTAs, that means at mini camp. He impressed the coaches so much with his speed, so much with his receiving ability, that he carved out a spot on the 53-man roster. And for Mason Tipton, he did get reps with the first team, and the depth at the wide receiver position, in my opinion, is a little bit questionable outside of those top 3 guys in Chris Olave, Rashid Shaheed, and A.T. Perry. I like Cedric Wilson. I like Bub Means. But Mason Tipton, he adds another element of speed. He adds another element of a gritty, hardworking guy. And I also believe he's not only going to contribute on special teams as a return man, but also defending special teams. He's a fast player. He wants to do anything he can to contribute, and I'm really excited about him. And back in May of 2024, Saints Wire did an interview with Mason Tipton, and I actually think this is some pretty cool information. Look at this. I mean, read what this says. It talks about what he's capable of, what things he can do, and why he is a good player. And he's saying, I can't wait to show the New Orleans Saints organization what I'm capable of. And I think that this is a player who's going to be extremely productive in New Orleans, but in my opinion, I like to see him lined up in the slot, use him as a little speedy slot guy. Come on, that'd be awesome. But here's a little bit more on Mason Tipton. His athletic profile, it's pretty impressive. Only 5'11" and 191 pounds, so that's small. But the dude is a speed demon. And on top of that, he is one of the most productive players in Yale's wide receiver history. 807 yards last year, 10 touchdowns at Yale in college and last season. And hey, this is a player I'm excited about. And you know, if you guys remember, he was dealing with the hamstring injury. That's why he missed in the preseason. There's a really cool quote from that same interview that I want to read to you guys really quick. The biggest thing that they're getting is someone who is committed to their craft. I'm going to come in with a lot of excitement and pride for the position that I'm in. That's exactly what he did, and it was enough to earn him a spot on the roster. Mason Tipton, I think, could be the next big wide receiver for the New Orleans Saints. Big because he's 5'11", but I think he could be the next big wide receiver that came as an undrafted free agent. That was an absolute steal and an absolute diamond in the rough. So shout out to Mickey Loomis and the Saints scouting department for sniffing out Mason Tipton. But I want to ask you this question. Who's going to have a bigger impact on the Saints offense? Is it going to be Dallin Holker or is it going to be Mason Tipton? I think both of them will have some impact, but I'm not expecting either of them to take over to lead their position groups. But I want you to let me know who's going to have a bigger impact. Now, maybe no impact will be as big as Rico Payton's. You might just get hit with a Rico. That song rocks. So he was one of the most impressive. Hold on. Let me start that over because I'm clearly all over the place. He was one of the most impressive rookies this preseason. In week 1 of the NFL preseason, he was the second highest graded rookie across the entire NFL in terms of his PFF grade. And he does join a group of really quality players that do consist of Kool-Aid McKinstry, Marshawn Lattimore, Paulson Adebo. And then on top of that, a lot of talented DBs like Tyrann Mathieu. And his college production was really impressive at Pittsburgh State. 64 tackles, 4 interceptions for the Gorillas. And for a guy like Rico Payton, he was impressive in the preseason. An 83 overall PFF grade. And this was all done in 107 snaps. We saw him get after Malik Willis, and he had a beautiful sack. Teams tried to pick on him against the 49ers, and he held his own. The Cardinals, he got a lot of run in that game too, and he held his own, and he managed to put up an unbelievable game. I watched an interview with Rico Payton on YouTube during his scouting process, and it was really informative, and it was just a cool interview to see. He talks a lot about his mentality. He talks about how he's just a hardworking guy. He's scrappy. He likes to get after it, and he said that he models his game after Jalen Ramsey, which, hey, Chris Olave absolutely dusted Jalen Ramsey, but he's a good football player. So I wouldn't mind seeing Rico Payton's development turn into something more. I'm excited to see how these other players can pour into Rico Payton. And if we're just talking long-term for the future, I think the idea of having maybe Paulson Adebo can stick around. But if it's Kool-Aid McKinstry and Rico Payton as your starting 2 CBs, let's say in 2-3 years, it's not a bad rap right there, guys, especially considering the fact that he's an undrafted free agent, and he's young, and he's cheap. So that right there makes the New Orleans Saints' lives a lot easier, especially considering the fact that they got to start being a little bit smarter with the cap, which is what they've been doing this offseason, but this just is another great move by Mickey Loomis. So last move that absolutely just blew me away. Mickey Loomis did it again. He brought in a punter. And he brought in the Aussie from Corio Bay. He was a punter in Vanderbilt, one of the best punters in this draft class last year. He had 7 attempts in the preseason, an average of over 50 yards per punt. The long was 61 yards. He only had one that was down inside of the 20. Would like to see that happen a little bit more often. Call me crazy. But the hang time, the average hang time for the Australian punter, 4.47 seconds, which is not too bad. So with Matt Hayball beating out Lou Hedley in the punter competition, you have the same kicker in Blake Grupe, but a new punter in Matthew Hayball. So shout out to him for making the roster, and shout out to all 4 of these guys for impressing the coaches enough to end up on the 53-man roster. So Dallin Holker, Mason Tipton, Rico Payton, and Matthew Hayball. We went through all of these 4 players. Mickey Loomis did it again. He has an excellent undrafted free agency class, and 4 of them ended up on the active roster, which is unbelievable. So I'm excited about these 4 guys, and I want to ask you this question to round out today's show. Which undrafted free agent are you most excited to watch? Just give him a shout out in the comment section and let me know your thoughts. And as always, Saints fans, thank you so much for tuning into today's program. If you haven't already, be sure to hit that subscribe button and lock us in for more coverage around your favorite football team. Y'all stay golden. We'll see you next time. Booyah! So, who are you guys most excited about? I see Mason Tipton. I see Dallin Holker. No Samson Nacua. He did not make the roster, and he did not get signed back to the practice squad. So there you go. Walk for Jesus International Disciple Revival. Say that 10 times fast. He says, go get Samson. Well, you do have an extra spot on the practice squad, so you could go sign Samson Nacua, but I'm not necessarily sold that he's a player the New Orleans Saints are itching to get back. I think they would have already done it by now had he. It's not a knock on him. It's just it'd be like that, you know. So let me know which UDFA are you most excited about? I see Mickey Loomis says, I did it again. Yes, you did. You're going to love that title and that thumbnail I put out there tomorrow. Do what? Yeah, go for it. Really quick, we only have 2 names added to our helmet today. It's Queen Courtney and Jason Hample. $25 in Super Chat. Shout out to you guys for showing out today. But I know we can get a little bit more. And I also know we can get some more mailbag questions. So be sure to get your questions in because we're going to go through some rumors. Then we're going to answer some questions in today's video. So be sure to get your questions in. If you don't use hashtag Saints or you do not send in a Super Chat, software can't pull it. It's don't shoot the messenger. It's just how the internet works. Sorry about it, guys. Yeah, get your hashtag Saints questions in. Share a hot take, a trade idea, trade target, player you want to sign, whoever it is. I want you to guys get down and get active in the live chat. 145 people hanging out with us, 127 likes. Really good production right there from you guys. I absolutely appreciate y'all more than you know. Mason Tipton becoming a better Lance Moore. Ooh, that's a good idea. That's a good comparison. I like that. Lanky Boy, I appreciate your question. We're going to answer that one for sure. How will the Saints play with the late additions to the 53-man roster? I think it's going to be good. I think it's going to be a good group. When is and who is Sean Payton going to poach from us? He missed us too much not to. That's really funny, Queen Courtney. Man, I could see. I don't know. I'm going to be honest. I don't know what the Broncos need. I'm not paying too much attention to what the Denver Broncos team needs are. Maybe they go and bring in Jacob Kibodi. I doubt it. They're good with the running back position. They let Samaje Perine go. Maybe they go one of those wide receivers. He loves poaching our wide receivers. So Kevin Austin Jr. could be a future Denver Broncos legend. We should go get Frank Gore Jr. Well, he did sign back with the Buffalo Bills practice squad. So you would have to, if you were to sign him, you'd have to bring him onto the active roster. And I think the New Orleans Saints would rather go with Jordan Mims, a guy who's been in the locker room and who's been around the team all offseason and throughout the preseason process. So I don't think I'm not opposed. I like the idea of going and get Frank Gore Jr., but in terms of what the New Orleans Saints would do, I don't think that that's very likely. Do you think that the Saints would eventually reach out to Hunter Renfrow? Short Dog, we'll talk about that here for sure. Young City, you can't put hashtag space Saints. It has to be hashtag Saints. If you put a space in there, it doesn't pull. Like our software does not recognize it. So Young City, if you want to get your mailbag question in, copy and paste your question, but just take away the space between the hashtag and the Saints. Brian says, bring back Michael Thomas to the practice squad. You got a spot for it. Use hashtag Saints. Dylan, good question. We'll get that up on the show as well. And Kyle, do you think the hype for the Spencer Rattler is going too far because one man named Wi-Fi Willie made a video and he believes that? Well, Wi-Fi Willie is a Raiders fan and he is a Derek Carr fan. So let me tell you this. If you're a New Orleans Saints fan and you're consuming content from Wi-Fi Willie, stop it. He is just a Derek Carr and a Raiders fan, and he's trying to appeal into the New Orleans Saints fan base to feed his pockets. Just stop watching Wi-Fi Willie altogether if you're a Saints fan. If you're a Raiders fan, do your thing. But from one fan to another, I would suggest going to Locked On Saints. I would suggest coming to here. I would suggest going to Second and Saints, NOF Network, ESPN Saints. Catherine Terrell does a phenomenal job. Follow some of those guys on social media as well if you want to know what's actually going on around the team. Wi-Fi Willie is not a Saints fan. He's a Derek Carr supporter. And to be quite honest, he's a fraud and he's a bum. He blocked me on Twitter because I called him out one time for some bogus take, and he's soft as hell. He's softer than baby shit. So, yeah, just don't worry about his stuff. Do what? Oh, you're all good. All righty, cool. So are we good on mailbags? Questions? Yeah, we can do that. We can do that. Alrighty, cool. So if you guys want to get on the program, friendly reminder, use hashtag Saints or send in a super chat. Hashtag we does not get us on the video, Kyle. Unfortunately, hashtag we does not pull in our software. It has to be hashtag Saints or it has to be a super chat. James, I don't mind James's coverage. I mean, I think he's very opinionated. Do I think he's a little over the top in his opinions and a little outlandish sometimes? But I am too. Like everyone is. So I don't want that to be a knock on James. I support, or I like what James does. I think his formatting is definitely unique. But I don't dislike what he does. I consume James's content whenever I'm trying to get a second opinion on something, because I like to think that my opinion and what James's opinion are typically, it's not the exact same, but we tend to have similar opinions on stuff as being fans. Like that's one thing I think James does a good job of. He's a fan first and then he does YouTube. That's how I like to think of it. I'm a fan that also has a YouTube channel. So what you're thinking is what I'm thinking. What you're feeling is what I'm feeling. What you want to say, I have the platform to say. So trust me, I will say it. I have no problem doing it. And there you go. All right. Yeah, just don't watch Wi-Fi Willie. All right, let's get into the subscriber mailbag and the latest Saints rumors. Let's talk about Jamaal Williams as a trade target. Oh, yeah. It's going down. I'm yelling timber, but I ain't named Kesha. What's happening, Saints fans? Hope y'all are having a wonderful weekend and a wonderful day. In today's video, I'm going to dive into some Saints rumors that I've seen in my comment section and on social media floated out here and there. And then on top of that, we're going to answer questions from our subscribers, react to some hot takes and whatnot. So if you want to be a part of our mailbag and you want to be featured on the channel for thousands of Saints fans to see every day, be sure to subscribe, turn on your notifications, and join our live shows every Wednesday at 4 p.m. Central Time. That way you can be more informed, and that way you can get involved with the content as well. Let's dive in first to Jamaal Williams, because I've seen him discussed as a trade target quite a bit. And this is a topic that I don't just see, on Twitter and in the comment section. I also even see like Bleacher Report and some of those publications discussing Jamaal Williams as a trade candidate for the New Orleans Saints. And it would be fair to say last year was underwhelming. And considering he had 17 touchdowns in 2022 for the Detroit Lions, I'm not necessarily going to call you out for being disappointed in the production. It wasn't great. Only one touchdown, and it came on the very last offensive play of the season because Jabo didn't want to take a knee. He's the greatest teammate in the whole wide world. And for me, I'm just not interested in trading away a running back, and part of it comes to do with the depth. With Alvin Kamara being the running back 1, I'm okay with that. Jamaal Williams being running back 2, I am also okay with that. And Jordan Mims, I like the idea of having him be your running back 3 while Kendre Miller is on the short-term IR. For Jamaal Williams, though, to get traded away, 2 things. 1, the trade value isn't that high. So it's not like you're going to get a 5th-round pick or a 4th-round pick. Like, I think at absolute best, you may get a 6th-round pick. And that's because he was extremely unproductive last year. Has nothing to do with him. It has nothing to do with, it has nothing to do with the New Orleans Saints. Just has everything to do with the fact that he was unproductive, and teams are not going to want to trade for an unproductive player. My other issue is if you trade away Jamaal Williams, who's your running back 2? And before you get in the comment section and say, well, Jacob Kibodi and Jordan Mims, they deserve chances. Yeah, but that's why Jordan Mims is on the active roster. This is him getting his chance. And that's why Jacob Kibodi's on the practice squad. That's him getting his chance. Sure, it's not on game day every Sunday, but he's not out of a job. He's not playing in the UFL. He is still in the National Football League. And with Jamaal Williams, I just think that his upside, I'm not going to say the upside is massively higher, but he is a veteran. He's experienced in this league. He knows what he's doing at the national football level, or at the professional level, excuse me. And for him, I don't think the expectations need to be something outlandish and ridiculous. My expectations for Jamaal Williams, I just want to see him be a good complement to Alvin Kamara. In my personal opinion, some of the best Saints offenses had a boom and a zoom. It was Alvin Kamara and Mark Ingram. It was Reggie Bush and Pierre Thomas. You had boom and zoom in all of the best offenses that I've been alive for. You had Deuce McAllister with a phenomenal compliment early with Pierre Thomas in his career. So for Jamaal Williams, I just want to see him compliment Alvin Kamara well, and I also want to see him be a spark of energy on the offense. I mean, sure, there's discussion and there's problems out there, and people say, well, he's just good for social media clips. He's just good for a funny soundbite. I'm not going to say that that's true. I'm going to say that there's a lot more to what he brings to the team. A player like Jamaal Williams reminds me a lot of Jameis Winston, where, sure, maybe he's not going to get out on the field and have insane production every single time he touches the ball, but he is very energetic, and he brings a positive energy to the offense, and that's something that is contagious, and when you have a positive energy, you get much better production than if the team is entirely negative. So for me, my expectations in Jamaal Williams, they're not massively high. I just want to see him be a good compliment. I want to see him be productive when his name is called, and I just want to see him bring some positive energy to the offense. But I want you to get down in the comment section. Did I convince you to keep him, or do you still want to trade him away? Get down in the comment section. Would you trade or keep Jamaal Williams? I had a different Fanatics item in the graphic sheet. We were going to talk about some jerseys, but we could talk about this. I got some art on sale for you. It's really cool wall art. Chatsports.com/Saints art. I'm not necessarily sure what happened to our jerseys, but we also have jerseys. If you want to go to that, I'll have the link to this and to the jerseys in the comment section. So go get geared up. Go get yourself some merchandise and some decorations for your apartment, house, man cave, whatever you want to do. Or go get yourself a jersey, chatsports.com/Saints jerseys. We got all the sizes, all the colors, and all the players. Jason Hamble, $20 super chat, playoff bound this season. I sure hope so, man. I love your optimism. The Atlanta Falcons definitely got improved. In 24 hours, they went from a team that I had zero faith in to a team that, I'm not going to lie, part of me a little bit fears them, because I'm not scared of them, but they're a better team than they were last year. And their defense got much better with Justin Simmons and Matthew Judon. So I think it's between the Saints, the Bucks, and the Falcons to win the division. I truly could not pick a team to win the division right now. It's just going to come down to how things shake out in the season. Lanky boy, we should go and get Kadarius Toney. Lanky, I love you, man, but I could not disagree more. Kadarius Toney literally has bricks for hands. The only good play he's made in the last 3 years, I would say, was that punt return in the Super Bowl against the Eagles. Sure, big play and a big moment, but that's it. If you have Patrick Mahomes throwing you the football, the best quarterback in the league, and you can't put up good production, I'm sorry, I want nothing to do with you. I don't hate Kadarius Toney as a person. I just do not think he would make any sense for the New Orleans Saints. I don't think he would add anything. I think he'd be more of a frustrating player than anything. And also, there's a reason he's been on multiple teams though this early in his career. Dylan, how will the Saints play with the late additions to the 53-man roster? Man, I think that with the late additions, trading for John Ridgeway III and signing Kene Nwangwu. Kene Nwangwu, I'm actually really excited about. John Ridgeway, woo pig. I'm pumped up about that trade as well. But I think that Kene Nwangwu could be really impactful as a kick returner. Darren Rizzi, who helped get this new kickoff rule into motion, he was the one who got all this going, and he's the one who got this thing, got this new rule active and put in place. And I think that he knows exactly how he's going to scheme it up. And I'm excited to see Kene Nwangwu and Rashid Shaheed back there. Queen Courtney, when is and who is Sean Payton going to poach from us? He missed us too much not to. If I had to pick somebody, it'd be one of the wide receivers. It feels like Sean Payton loves taking away former Saints wide receivers. So give me Kevin Austin Jr. I think that he is a wide receiver that maybe Sean Payton wants to bring back. Looking through the practice squad, or Equanimeous St. Brown, maybe. Those are really the only two wide receivers on the practice squad, so maybe one of them. Dylan, back to you, brother. Does Mason Tipton get a lot of playing time and a lot of catches? If I had to give Mason Tipton a stat projection, I would say 15 catches for 160 yards and 2 touchdowns. That's my stat projection for Mason Tipton. Kyle, I don't know if you saw the question, but do you think this hype for Spencer Rattler is going too far? Because apparently one man made a video, and it seems he believes that. So I'm going to answer the question, but really quick preface. If you watch that guy, I'm not going to say his name, but if you watch that guy for Saints content, I'm telling you, you're going to the wrong place. He is not a Saints fan. He's a Raiders fan and a Derek Carr fan. So If you want to get Saints content by Saints fans, you go to Saints Now by Chat Sports. You go to Locked On Saints. You go to Second and Saints, NOF Network. You don't go to that guy. He is not a Saints fan. But in terms of is the Rattler hype getting too out of hand? Well, I can tell you why he thinks it's getting out of hand, because he likes Derek Carr, and he thinks Derek Carr is a top quarterback in the league every single year, and the guy doesn't know ball. But Spencer Rattler, I do not think the hype has gone too far whatsoever. He has been exciting. He has been good. He has been productive. And on top of that, he's given something the Saints fans to believe in. The pictures speak 1,000 words for me. I saw pictures of the practice in New Orleans that Saints fans were at. Derek Carr signing autographs, whatever. Saints fans kind of, one guy, just giving him weird looks and whatnot. I think that says a lot. And I'm also going to say this, tinfoil hat time. The New Orleans Saints tweeted out a sideline view of the beautifully perfect Spencer Rattler throw to Equanimeous St. Brown against the Titans. Within hours, that tweet was deleted. By the time the game was done, it was deleted. I don't want to say Derek Carr had anything to do with that. I just find it kind of interesting that all of the hype is around one player, and all of the fan base is not necessarily hyped about one player. And then all of a sudden you have players putting out tweets saying, no, we're all for DC, we're all for Carr, we're all this, we're all that. I'm not trying to speculate too much, but to answer your question, no. The Spencer Rattler hype has not gone far enough. I think it needs to go further, because if Saints fans want Spencer Rattler, if they want him to be the QB1, you go to game days. You chant for Spencer Rattler every single day or every single game. You make yourself visibly and physically heard. So that way, Mickey Loomis and Dennis Allen have no choice but to address the noise. Short Dog, 04. Do you think the Saints would eventually reach out to Hunter Renfrow? I mean, maybe they would. I just don't think they should, to be honest. Nothing against Hunter Renfrow. I just don't want to. I don't want to sign a player who was productive a few years ago. And that's what you're signing him off of. He was productive a few years ago when Derek Carr was on a different team with him. So should they or will they reach out? Maybe. But should they? I'm going to say I'm okay. I'd rather roll the dice with Mason Tipton. We do have a super chat from Lanky Boy. We're going to pop that up here in a second, but quick reminder, if you haven't already, to subscribe to the channel and share the video on social media. Send it to a friend. We want to get more of you guys on the program. We want more of you to be a part of our family and our squad here. Lanky Boy, super chat coming in from you. We should trade Derek Carr and get more NFL picks. Well, the only problem is Derek Carr has a no-trade clause in his contract. That can be changed. He can decide, I want to waive that, and the Saints could trade him. They will not outright cut Derek Carr. I see in the comment section from BPM, then we need to cut Carr. That is stupid. It's dumb. You would be literally paying this guy. I'm going to look it up. Derek Carr's contract. If the New Orleans Saints were to cut Derek Carr right now, of course, Spotrack is loading. I'm going to go to Over the Cap, because Over the Cap usually is a little bit quicker. So the New Orleans Saints would lose $50 million. They only have about $13 million to spend, and they have $96 million over the cap next year. So cutting Derek Carr, as much as you want it to happen, will not happen. Doesn't make any sense. Kyle, just want to let you know, I appreciate it, man. Thank you for watching my content. Thanks for holding it down. Bunch of really good coverage, or a lot of good Saints coverage out there. I'm opinionated on my coverage that I consume because I want to consume the best coverage so I can provide you guys with great coverage, because I like to compare myself and take notes of, hey, this is how they're talking about some of this stuff, or this is, what's actually going down here. Why are they talking about this and that and the other? So I consume a lot of Saints content because I want to give you guys good Saints content. So yeah, let's go check out a lot of the great Saints media people on YouTube and on the podcast stuff. Friendly reminder, again, be sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We go live multiple times a week. We give you guys videos every single day and a whole lot of short-form content. So Who Dat Nation, thank you so much for tuning into today's program. Y'all stay golden, and we'll see you next time. All right, let me know, would you trade Jamaal Williams, trade or keep? And then if we don't get any super chats here in the next 60 seconds, we're out of here. 60-second shot clock started now. Any super chat keeps us live. If we don't get any, we're out. So my opinion says, oh, he just says cut. I think that was about Derek Carr. Young City says keep. Steven says keep. Jason says keep. Honey Badger keep. If Jay says keep. Yeah, I'm with you guys. I'm with you. If you want to get on the show, you got 30 seconds to keep us live. 30 seconds to keep us live. Send in a super chat if you want to keep the show going. Austin James says keep. Kyle, how many total touchdowns does AK get this year? I'm going to go with 8 on the ground, 4 in the air. So 12 total. Dark Knight, let's go. $20 super chat. That resets the clock. He says, trade for what exactly? I don't know what the trade compensation would be. I said it in the video, Dark Knight. I think at most you could get like a 5th-round pick. Like that is, no, not even that. I think a 6th-round pick. I think you're getting a 6th-round pick at best. He doesn't have an untradeable contract, so you have that going for you. But he was unproductive last year. Teams don't like taking chances on old running backs. Like, I just don't think that I don't think that they would get good compensation. It's just more of a question of, do you want to keep him or do you want to trade him? Just would you rather him be on the roster or not be on the roster? Understanding you're not going to get good trade value in return. Do you Demario Davis? Oh yeah, Demario Davis is a Hall of Famer for sure. He's a Hall of Famer. He's one of the best linebackers in the league year in and year out. He's only gotten better as he's gotten older. So yeah, 60 seconds back on the clock. Is AK considered old now? I mean, it's creeping up to 30. He is creeping up to 30, so depends on what you define as old. That depends on how you define it. Philip says, the guy running the live, someone needs to tell him you're fake, LOL. So Philip thinks I'm fake, and I'm here to tell you, nope, I'm a real person. I can feel I'm touching, I'm feeling, I'm real. Yeah, I'm a real person. I'm a real person. Philip, if you're going to hate, let's take it to the Twitter DMs, brother. I promise you don't want to do that. Lanky, we just stink and then get the top picks. Kyle, I believe Williams is in a contract year. He signed a 2-year deal. That is true. Honey Badger, what was the first Saints jersey you ever had? I had a Reebok black and gold Drew Brees jersey, and I got it when I was in the fourth grade. I got it when I was in the 4th grade. I think I still have it somewhere. I mean, it's like the old jersey where it's like the mesh in there and it has the number painted on. Like, dude, that thing's been washed a few too many times and the paint is like peeling off. You can barely. It's a good jersey. That thing got some work. I'll tell you what. All right, we got 10 seconds before we're hopping out of here. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. Super chat to keep us live on the program. All right, Saints fans, thank you so much for tuning in to today's program. The live show was absolutely electric. We have been live for the past hour and some change, so we got to go on out of here. We already put out a video about the practice squad and all 18 roster moves that New Orleans made today. So if you missed that, go check it out on the channel. It's the most recently published video. Saints fans, I really appreciate you for hanging out with us, rocking and rolling, and y'all stay golden. We'll see you next time.